sarvagamanam achara pratamam parikalpate achara prabhavo dharmo dharmasya prabhurachyutaha rishaya pitaro deva mahabhutani dhatavaha jangama jangamam bhedam jagannarayanodbhavam yogo jnanam tata sankhyan vidya shilpadi karmacha veda shastrani vijnanam etat sarvam janardanat eko vishnur mahadbhutam pritag bhutanyanekashaha trilokan vyapya bhutatma bhunte vishvabhugavyayaha imam stavam bhagavato vishnur vyasena kirtitam patedya ichet purushap shreya praptum sukhani cha Vishveshwaramajam devam jagata prabhavapyayam bhajanti ye pushkaraksham nateyanti parabhavam Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya. That is so nice. So nice. And the more we chant this, Vishnu Sahasranam, the more powerful it becomes. We can expect that all of the things mentioned in the Phalashruti section will actually happen. This is my experience. You chant this Vishnu Sahasranam every day for some time, 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, like that. And gradually you'll see all these things that are mentioned will come to pass. It's no exaggeration. It's not just sales talk. It's for real. So tonight I want to look at this one shloka 84. Brahmanyo brahmakrid brahma 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 vivardhanaha Brahmavid Brahmano Brahmi Brahmagno Brahmana Priyaha. A little tricky. Especially for the Westerners. Lord Krishna is the well-wisher and benefactor of Gargamuni and the entire Brahmana community. Gargamuni is the family priest or family Brahmana of the family of Nanda Maharaj, Krishna's family. And Brahmakrit means he personally performs the austerities and spiritual practices enjoined for the Brahmanas. So Krishna, he doesn't just say, do this, do that. He doesn't just like, I'm God, okay, you do this, you do that. No, he actually practices these things himself, personally. It's described in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. That when Narada Muni visited Krishna in the palace at Dwarka, one of the things he saw was that in one palace, Krishna was reciting prayers to himself. And in another palace, Krishna was offering ghee and grains and things into the sacred fire with mantras and hymns and everything. And in another place, Krishna was chanting japa of his own holy name. And in another palace, Krishna was giving charity. And in another one, he was doing yoga and meditating silently on transcendence. And in other words, Krishna doesn't just give idle instructions in the scriptures. But he actually practices all these things himself. That means Krishna is the original guru, the original Brahmana. And Brahma, he is also the origin of the spiritual duties. See? He doesn't just give orders. He practices them himself, and he even creates them. Bhagavan pranitam bhagavat, what's that? Shabdyate. that God is the origin of all religious principles. In other words, how do we know what is religion and what is not religion? How do we know what is spiritual and what's not spiritual? Well, it has to come from God himself. You see, so if we hear from Krishna directly, what is dharma? What is sadhana? What is the right and wrong thing to do? Then everything will be very clear. So Krishna speaks in Bhagavad-gītā. Brahma. He is the unlimited supreme Brahman, full of all transcendental qualities, the maintainer of all living entities, and the supreme absolute truth, knowable by the study of theistic commentaries on Vedanta, and hidden from the view of the atheists. This is very nice. Vedanta is there. Everyone can read Vedanta. But Vedanta is very, very abstruse. It's recondite. In other words, its meaning is hidden. It's not easily available. You cannot look, an ordinary person especially, if they read Vedanta, they won't get anything out of it. It's code. Well, it's like if you open up your computer and you look in the memory at all the instruction codes and stuff like that, it's just gobbledygook. But if you're expert, you can read it and you know exactly what it means. It means something very precise. See? The instructions in the memory of a computer, they're not at all ambiguous. They're not at all, they're not just made up. There's a very precise code and an exact meaning. And the same is true of the codes of Vedanta, but you have to know. You have to know the code. Now, the impersonalists and the atheists, they take Vedanta, or they invent something like Buddhism, or Mayavadi philosophy, where they take Vedanta and then they make up their own meaning for it. They say, well, this word means this, and this word means that, and they make up their own meaning. I mean, this is really incredible. This is as if you took something like a law book that has to be interpreted very precisely. And instead of accepting the standard meaning for the words, you give some other meaning, so that up means down, and in means out, and backwards means forwards, and vice versa. Everything's upside down. Everything's backwards, wrong. That's what the Mayavadis have done, the impersonalists. They have invented their own meanings for the words of the Vedānta-sūtra and the Upanishads, and they interpret it in their own way. They don't accept any of the standard principles of Sanskrit interpretation. They make up their own principles. And then they try to say that Vyasadeva, the author of Vedanta, was wrong. Because in the first part of Vedanta, there is a very nice exposition of the Vaishnava philosophy. And basically, the Vaishnava philosophy is that there's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, there's his potencies and energies, and then there's the relationship between them, which is that the potencies and the energies serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This service is called bhakti. So then in the second adhyaya of Vedānta-sūtra, Vyasadeva refutes all other philosophies, categorically, one at a time. He refutes all other conflicting philosophies, including Buddhism, Jainism, Shaktism, materialism, sectarian religion, and so many others. Then, in the third adhyaya, the third part, he presents the path of bhakti, how Krishna's energy is supposed to serve him. And then in the fourth part, he explains the results of bhakti. So it's pretty clear that the conclusion of Vedanta is bhakti. It's not at all a stretch of the imagination. It's very clear. It's right there in the sutras. But the Mayavadis, they say, oh, actually, Vyasadeva was wrong. And then they take the statements of the first adhyaya out of context, and they interpret them in their own way. They don't accept Vyasadev's conclusion that actually bhakti is the meaning. You see? So because of this, they mislead everyone. They mislead themselves and everybody else. They cheat everyone. This is going on. So as soon as one accepts this kind of cheating religion, then his spiritual progress is stopped. Then he's not going to perform the actual process that leads to spiritual advancement. Instead, he's going to perform offensive. He's going to make offenses against the Supreme Personality of Godhead and his devotees. Because of that, they fall down. So, all that in that one little word, huh?